bring in Mr. Trump right now. Thank you for joining us again this morning, Mr. Trump. And let's begin with those comments about Ben Carson's religion, Seventh-day Adventist. I don't know about that. What were you trying to say?
Well, I don't. I know nothing about it, really. I'm a Presbyterian, and I had mentioned that, and I did say I don't know about it, and in fact, those are my exact words. So I just really don't know about the Seventh-day Adventist. I just, and that's what I said.
But why raise it at all? Some conservatives claim that Seventh-day Adventists are not Christian. Were you trying to send a dog whistle to them because Ben Carson is beating you among evangelicals in Iowa?
No, not at all. In fact, I think nationwide I'm beating Ben with the evangelicals. But no, not at all. I just don't know about that particular religion.
Back to my question, why raise it?
Because I just said I don't know about it. I said nothing about it. I would never say bad. I'd never say bad about any religion. And as you know, in fact, I think you just had a quote on, I said exactly, I don't know about it. So,
Ben Carson
that's not an insult.
Ben Carson has asked for an apology. Will you give it to him?
Well, I didn't say anything bad about it. I just don't know about it. I would certainly give an apology if I said something bad about it, but I didn't. All I said was, I don't know about it.
So you're not going to apologize to Ben Carson. Let's talk about some of the policy differences you have with Mr. Carson now that you guys are the top two candidates on the Republican side. On immigration, he says your deportation plan is, quote, not practical, and it could cause collapse of parts of the agricultural sector.
Well, it's totally practical, and frankly, people can come in and, legally come in with work visas and other ways to come and, solve agricultural problems if they have that. But frankly, Ben is extremely weak, as you know, on illegal immigration, and you can't have that now. We have to have a country of borders. We need strength in our country, and you can't be weak on illegal immigration. He is for amnesty, and I'm for a very strong border. If we had strong borders, if we had strong rules and regulations, you might not have had the collapse, which was the big story a couple of days ago, the collapse and the attack of the World Trade Center. So we have very weak rules on immigration, and I'm for making them strong and solid, like a country should have. And Ben is very weak on that subject.
But he says you still haven't spelled out how you can actually deport those 11 million undocumented aliens who are in the country right now. Will you do that?
Yes, and through very good management that will happen, and the people that are really good and outstanding and have had outstanding records will come back in, and they'll come back in legally. They're going to come back in legally, so we have a country. And the bad ones, and there are many bad, I have been so right on that subject, and I think it's one of the reasons I'm leading in virtually every national poll and almost every state poll, frankly, including, by the way, some in Iowa. But it's one of the reasons is illegal immigration. They'll come in illegally. The ones that are bad, and we have some real bad ones in this country, they're going to get out so fast your head will spin.
On health care, Ben Carson has called it for health savings accounts. He says he wants to shift money from Medicare and Medicaid and other health spending to these accounts. And he says that under his plan, Medicare probably won't be necessary. What do you think of that?
Well, I'm okay with the savings accounts. I think it's a good idea. It's a very down-the-middle idea. It works. It's something that's proven. The one thing we have to do is repeal and replace Obamacare. It is a disaster. I don't know if you've been watching lately over the last couple of weeks, people's premiums, George, are going up 35, 45, 55%. Their deductibles are so high, nobody's ever going to get to use it. So Obamacare is turning out to be a bigger disaster than anybody thought.
So if you have
Forget about the $5 billion website. That was the beginning. That was really the beginning of the end. Obamacare is a disaster.
So if you agree with this health savings accounts idea, do you also agree with Ben Carson when he says Medicare probably won't be necessary?
Well, it's possible. You're going to have to look at that. But I tell you what, the health savings accounts, I've been talking about it also. I think it's a very good idea, and it's an idea whose probably time has come.
Bottom line, is Ben Carson your #1 challenger right now, and can you stop his surge?
Well, in Iowa he is, not everywhere else, because everywhere else I see they're all different people all over the lot, all scattered all over the place. New Hampshire is totally different. In New Hampshire, I have a massive lead, and we have different seconds. You look at different states, it seems to be a lot of different people, but certainly in Iowa, he got a lot of PR by going a little bit ahead of me in Iowa, but we'll see what happens, because I find it hard to believe. I was in Iowa 3 days ago. We had such an unbelievable turnout that I find it really difficult to believe that I'm in second place. But we'll find out.
Let's talk about Jeb Bush. He's, as we know, made severe cuts in his campaign and his budgets. He said yesterday he doesn't want to sit around and see gridlock, and he went on to say this.
That is not my motivation. I got a lot of really cool things that I could do other than sit around being miserable, listening to people demonize me and me feeling compelled to demonize them. That is a joke. Elect Trump if you want that.
What do you think? Elect Trump?
Well, all I'm saying is he's not going to get the job done. He doesn't have the temperament for it. He doesn't have, you know, I use the word energy, but, and by the way, Ben Carson's a very low-energy person also. Hey, look, we're being ripped off by the entire world. You look at what's going on, our trade deals with China, with Japan, with Mexico, with everybody. We lose with every single thing. You need somebody that's done it before. You need somebody that has that real ability to bring our country back, to make our country rich again, and we can do that. And therefore, to also, without the money, without the rich, we can't make it great again, George. Bush does not have that. Jeb does not have that. It's not for him. And you know, I hate to see what's happening with him, but his campaign is a disaster. He's paid one person $1.3 million, some finance director, paid $1.3 million. That's almost more than I paid for my whole deal. You know, when you look at what I've done, I'm number one in virtually every poll, and I spent less money than any other candidate that's running.
Are you going to have to start spending it now on ads in Iowa? Are you going to have to start spending that money now on ads in Iowa? We see Ben Carson.
Oh, I don't mind doing that at all. Yeah, sure. By the way, Ben Carson, you know, Ben is spending a lot of money on ads. His super PAC is running Iowa for him, which shouldn't be. I'm asking everybody to disavow their super PACs like I do. I don't want any money from anybody. I'm self-funding my campaign. But Ben, he's being led by his super PACs. And if the super PACs in Iowa are doing a lot of the work for him, and that's not supposed to be happening. That's not the way it's supposed to work.
There was a remarkable focus group in Indianapolis run by Peter Hart this week among Republican voters. Had some good things to say about you, but they were also worried that you might be divisive. Listen in on that.
He's going to offend everyone.
He's intolerant and has a lack of empathy.
He'll call everybody idiots and we'll just get mad at him.
He's a hothead. He just doesn't think.
He doesn't listen.
Hothead, offends everyone, doesn't listen. You're going to have to change your approach?
Well, I don't think so because, you know, one by one they're dropping out. I was against 16 other candidates, and you know, I'm being divisive right now because I want to win. I know how to win. That's what I have to do. Ultimately, if I do win, I'm going to be a great unifier, George. I will be a great unifier for the country. The country right now is terribly divided by a president that doesn't know how to lead, and he's a very divisive person. I will be a great unifier. You will be surprised to see that, but you will see that.
How are you going to be a unifier when at your campaign rallies like yesterday you said the country is going to hell if Hillary Clinton gets elected?
Well, I think that's true. I think if Hillary Clinton gets elected, the country will go further down. It will go down to a lower level than it is right now. We owe $19 trillion. We're the laughing stock all over the world. Our military doesn't perform because it's not allowed to perform, and it's not in great shape. As you know, all you have to do is speak to the generals. It's in probably the worst shape it's been in 50 years. Our country is in serious trouble. We make deals for Bergdahl. We make the Iran Pact, which is one of the worst contracts I've ever seen negotiated and one of the dumbest. No, our country's in bad shape, and if we have Hillary, it'll just get worse.
Finally, Jeb Bush's advisors are telling the Washington Post that in the debate this week, he's going to position himself as someone who can fix a broken Washington and focus on national security. Are you ready for that, and what's your debate strategy?
Well, I think that's a good thing to focus on. I think it's excellent. I don't think he'll have the chance to do it, but I think it's an excellent thing to focus on. Don't forget, in my book written in 2000, I was the one that predicted Osama bin Laden was trouble, and you better do something about him. Well, guess what? 19 months later, he came down and knocked out the World Trade Center, killed thousands of Americans. I put it in a book. In fact, a couple of your competitors were saying, whoa, they just saw that yesterday or the other day. And they said, whoa, Trump actually mentioned Osama bin Laden and that we better do something about him or we're going to have problems. That was before the World Trade Center came down. So I know much more about this stuff than Bush or anybody else running, believe me.
Donald Trump, thanks very much for your time this morning.
Thank you very much, George.
Let's bring in Mr. Trump right now. Thank you for joining us again this morning, Mr. Trump. And let's